Hello everyone and welcome aboard. We are back finally with one of my favorite videos to make for you guys, a boat review. And not just any boat review, a boat review of a beautiful Prestige 420 2021 model, probably the newest boat I've ever reviewed. And this boat is special to me because back when I first started working on boats at a boat rental dock, these just started coming to the West Coast and I would stare at them all day long while I was cleaning up people's beer. I still clean up beer, but at least now it's on much bigger vessels. And this vessel was lent to me today by Newport Yacht Rentals. Newport Yacht Rentals is a great company here on the West Coast. They do sales as well as rentals. This one is actually both. It is for sale and a rental. And you'll be able to check out the description of it if you're interested in the description below. And this vessel will also be available in the description at setsailmarine.com. It's a new boating marketplace pushing our boating community into the 21st century. You can use AI to ask it questions about boats or things you might want to purchase or problems you might have on your vessel. You can find vendors that will fix anything on your vessel, as well as buy and list vessels. So go ahead and check it out. That's setsailmarine.com. Very excited for it, and I hope you guys will be too. Now, I've kept you guys waiting long enough. Let's check out this 2021 Prestige 420. Starting with the exterior of this boat, it is 42 feet with a 13-foot beam. It comes in a couple of different colors, but this blue color by far being my favorite. With the boat being 42 feet, it is easy to compare to the Carver that I already have a video of on the channel. If we would like to compare the bow of the Carver and the bow of the Prestige, this one is much more raked. However, it has more of a squared off bow, which you'll see more of later. The Carver had a little bit of a steeper bow, kind of more of an axe style bow to maximize interior space. This one maximizes interior space with this squared off bow, something you'll see when we go inside. The bow features all stainless Lumar anchor equipment. It has a bow pad up on the front, as you can see, wrapped around all this stainless steel railing. As we move our way back to the stern of the vessel, the boat maintains its lines as well as a couple windows through here. However, the black on this boat is actually not entirely a window all the way through, which is good because it keeps its structural integrity. The other thing you notice as we make our way back is the mirrored finish on the windows. It makes it look very shiny and pretty in the sun. And as we get back here, you will see Prestige 420 in all chrome. As we make our way onto the stern, the first thing you'll notice is the swim step. It does go down into the water to launch the tender. The tender is a pretty good sized tender. It's about 10 to 12 feet. We have the name, obviously, as well as a retractable shore power equipment. As we go into the rear cockpit, you'll see a beautiful table layout. These chairs have been added from what I can tell, but the teak table is fixed to the vessel. There's a staircase right here on the port side, walkways down both sides of the vessel, port and starboard. As we head onto the bow, we were able to see most of the equipment from the dock. However, we'll take a look at the sun pad. The sun pad does have reclining seats that you can lift up and that lay flat. Up here is the anchor locker, and the anchor locker is pretty neat because it actually is segregated from the chain. You can see the compartment here is just entirely for storage, with some of your equipment in here to control the windlass itself and a hose. Now let's head back down the starboard side here, through the shade and up to the Flybridge. The staircase to the Flybridge has these nice stainless rails on both sides, comes on up with a nice big opening so you don't hit your head, and you're up on the Flybridge. This Flybridge is fully enclosed except for the rear, which I think is pretty neat because as long as you have three sides of the Flybridge enclosed, you don't really need the other side enclosed because air can't flow freely through the vessel. As we're here, we take a look at another table setup. This one with a nice stainless post to it, a good shape so you can come in and out of the couches. Over here on the starboard side, there is a fridge up here on top, as well as a grill and a sink. As we move towards the front of the boat, we have another pad up here that also reclines and lays flat. And then we get to the Flybridge helm. The Flybridge helm seat sits pretty low as the helm's pretty low, and it's a pretty comfortable seating position. You have great visibility around the entire vessel from up here. And something that's pretty unique here is the support posts for the top actually come down towards the middle in the front rather than a more traditional off to the side here, which I actually kind of like because it doesn't really block visibility at all. They're only 3-inch diameter supports, but it does make you feel like you're much more open to your side here and more connected with the water, which I think is pretty nice. On the helm, we have a lot of our modern standard equipment. We have a Raymarine, we have an autopilot up here, we have our Raymarine VHF speaker, as well as the radio over here on the side. We have a zip wake trim tab system, all of our buttons and switches, as well as our Cummins control with a joystick. And as we head back down the stairs, let's go check out the interior. And as we enter the interior, we have that 4-piece sliding door that we talked about here. The first 3 slide all the way across into the 4th one, and then you're greeted by a galley area. The galley has everything you need. It's got a stovetop, sink, it's got a little oven, microwave set up down here. The coffee maker, I do not believe is standard on these Prestige 420s, but I could be wrong. On the other side, we have our freezer up top, as well as our refrigerator down below. These are sliding out. In this side, we have a little ice maker. Above that, we have a little bit of a bar area with some cabinetry space up top. And then back on this corner side by the door, this is where all of your switches to control the vessel are, your main battery switches, as well as your control panel to see your water levels, your waste levels, as well as some switches in regards to those. All right, if you guys are still watching this video, you'll be very happy you did, because in the interior here is where this boat really starts to shine. The engineers at Prestige did some things that I think are super unique and should be normal features on every single boat. For example, this curtain here, it's corrugated, so it folds up really small. But when you want it to grow, it'll go all the way across the door here. And much like this curtain, my channel is actually still pretty small, but I really hope to grow it with your guys' support. And if you enjoy this video, the best way for me to be able to make more videos like this is by growing the channel with your guys' help. Please like and subscribe, it means a lot to me. And now let's get into the rest of this salon. So as we push into the salon, you'll see more of those really unique features. On the starboard side, we just have a normal little couch here, good for entertaining. Up here, we have our helm station, which has our Cummins joystick system, as well as 2 big Raymarine units. Those are pretty standard. Over here, engine computer. Down here, fusion control unit. Over here, Raymarine autopilot, the same zip wake trim tab system we had up above, and a little chain counter right here. Pretty nice. Under the seat here at the helm, we have some storage for some bar necessities. And then this salon really starts to shine once we look over here. Big, spacious seating area, can fit a lot of people. However, if you come underneath the table over on this side, pull down this little ring and push this table all the way around, it will become bigger. And not only will it become bigger, but if you come over here and push this down button, you don't have to hold it, it clicks itself in. This thing lowers and becomes another bed area. I'm not gonna lower it all the way because I don't want to take that cushion, but a really useful feature, something you don't have to mess with on your own. Really simple, works for you, makes it super easy to either extend this table or make it into another bed space. And to put it away, you just pull the pin again and you spin it all the way around and you're all set. Keeping on to the trend of stuff that just makes sense on this vessel, up here, I thought that this would be like a cabinet for charts or something, but if you lift it up, you get a television. And not just a television, like I've seen televisions come up out of cabinets before. I've never seen one on a hinge like this though. And I think it's great. I wasn't expecting it. Just goes right back down and away, just like that. And then on this side, you do get that little space there. As we make our way down, we will enter the area of all the cabins. And forward, we have our V-berth, which isn't really a V-berth because as you can see, the bed doesn't really taper away at all due to that square shape of the bow that we talked about when we were outside. On the other side of it is that anchor locker storage area we saw up above. And a couple of cool features in here are there are outlets and AC controls and light controls on both sides, so you can control that from your bed. And then on this side, on the port, we have a mirror. On the other side, we have some storage space and an AC unit. And then one neat feature I thought about in this room is this door. This door is actually 2 small doors. They cut it in half. That way, it doesn't get in the way of you walking through the cabin. There is also an access door to the day head here. And if we go into that day head, we will find a little shower area, which is pretty cool for a day head. So day head's got a shower. It has this little shelf that comes down, folds over, sits over the head itself so that it goes away when you want to take a shower and not do other things in there. And then we have a sink, and on the opposite side, we have the main cabin, and the main cabin is part of this little hallway that takes you back down under the salon. So all this stuff up here is under the salon, has a lot of the same features as the forward room, where we have outlets and controls. On the side, you can operate while you're still in bed. On this side, we have a small television, and then a cabinet here that swings similar to that other door, but this one's on a hinge. And if we sit over on this side, we see a window, obviously, or a porthole, depending on how stingy you are with your nautical terms. And if you pull out this little drawer here, you lift it up and you got a little vanity for us captains to do our makeup. Slide that back in, a couple more cabinets down there. And as we head back up forward through the hallway, we end up in another head. And this head, the head is actually separate from the shower. There's a partition there of glass, so you do have sort of what you could maybe consider a full shower. Now, as we head back up, since we have seen the rest of this vessel, let's go check out the engine room and do the dreaded Christian test. So now, I was looking at this engine room and this engine compartment, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm a pretty big guy. How am I even going to get in here? Which is usually a problem for me in general, but in this boat, it's pretty tight. Like that air filter's in the way, I can't even get my ass around that. So I was about ready to give up on you guys and not do the Christian test, but over here in the galley, we have another hatch. Another great feature of this Prestige, I'm really starting to like the engineering of these things, is a ladder with way more space for me. So let's go down there and see what's going on. So apologies, forgot to bring my light today, but with both these hatches open, I think that there's plenty of light in here now. And you can see that it is pretty tight packed. And I would say that if this hatch in the galley didn't exist, you probably wouldn't be able to get access to a lot of this engine room, but it is far more spacious over here on this side. So you have all your Raymarine units here, you have all your electronics, super easy to reach right here in this galley compartment. And on that side, you have more power stuff, the generator right here in the middle. It seems like you could, if you really needed to, get access to these sides of the engines. And you can see that you can kind of walk your way back over there and there's actually some space as opposed to the space that was available in the middle here. So overall, not as bad as I initially thought it would be. Now let's go back up top and I'll give you guys the stars for this vessel. All right, you guys, before we go through the stars of this boat, let's go through the summary and I'll give you guys a little view of the harbor in case I'm too dull for you. The vessel is a 2021 Prestige 420, comes in at 42 feet, even slightly closer to 43 feet with a 19-foot beam. It weighs about 22,000 pounds. It is made of fiberglass with a semi-displacement hull. The vessel has twin Cummins QSB 6.7 diesel engines that put out 370 horsepower each, attached to a V-drive system. The joystick operates with the bow thruster. My opinion, much better than pod drives. That engine package will get you up to 22 cruising, 30 top speed. It has a fuel tank of about 309 to be precise, and that will get you 210 nautical miles of range. The vessel has 2 cabins with 2 heads and sleeps 4 officially, but you can sleep more if you turn this table right here into a bed. The freshwater system is 112 gallons and the waste system is 32 gallons. Once again, if you'd like to see all this, it will be on the website and in the description below. Be sure to check them out. Huge thank you. Really appreciate it. And right before we get to the star total, one last time, if you guys enjoyed this video and you're still watching, be sure to like and subscribe. It does really help me out and it makes it so that I can make more of these videos for you guys in the future because I can show people with boats how great their boat is, but more importantly, how much attention it gets on the internet. Now finally, let's jump into the star reviews. And remember, the star review system is on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average. This isn't high school, 7 a C, it's not passing. 5 is average. So anything above a 5 is great. With that being said, I'm going to give performance on this vessel a 7. The reason it gets a 7 is because it gets 22 knots cruising, which is pretty good for its class. It gets 30 knots max speed, which is also pretty good for its class, but both those things aren't, exceptional or out of the blue. What makes it exceptional to me is that it has the V-drive system instead of the pod system. For those of you that are familiar, the pod systems usually are very difficult and costly to maintain, and they don't always work as well as the V-drive system. For comfort, I also give this boat a 7. I think it is above average in comfort in terms of the space and how it uses the space. The space in that forward cabin. That forward cabin is like a main cabin in most boats this size. Quality of this vessel also gets a 7. Reason it gets a 7 for quality is that it is above average in my opinion, in the sense that everything is very well made and it appears to be all functioning. I mean, for example, if I just grab the camera here right now and we look at this cabinet, it is perfectly aligned all the way down and opens with no troubles whatsoever. The humidity, the weather, it's not being affected by it. So for that, 7. For practicality, I'm gonna give this boat an 8. The reason being is all of the cool features that the engineers at Prestige took the time to implement in this vessel, from this table right here that spins, to the curtain that folds completely away, and the cool little cabinet TV behind the camera here. But it's also a good sized vessel. So it's 42 feet, you can drive it with the joystick on your own, you don't need a captain, you can single hand this vessel. And lastly, value. I'm gonna give this boat a 7 for value. If you've already looked in the description below and saw what it's going for, that may surprise you because it is a lot of money. These vessels, I would say, are a bit more expensive than something like the Carver that we reviewed before, but it is not a big number when you think about what other new yachts are going for these days. For example, Sunseekers, far more expensive. However, I really can't tell you what you wouldn't get in this boat that you would get in a Sunseeker, other than the name. That brings the star total for the Prestige 420 to 36 stars, which is incredible. It's like tied for second in the boats that I've done. And the reason for that is just all the great features. I was honestly shocked when I came aboard at how nice this vessel is and how far Prestige has come compared to some of the earlier ones I used to drive. They've changed a lot of things that I know I didn't really discuss, but they used to have different layouts and they weren't as great as this layout. So overall, 2021 Prestige 420, 36 stars, great job. Thank you for watching, and smooth sailing.